Okay, Blues TV is here with Andy Widdup, Director of Rugby. Andy, we need to start by looking back at last Saturday's match at Dings. Very tough match for everybody involved. Now the dust settled a bit on that match, what are your reflections on it?
Well, the dust didn't need to settle for me to be disappointed. I think we're all disappointed, including the players. Let's see sort of the reaction of them after the game, and a certain amount of disappointment in everybody's face. We knew it was going to be a tough season, um, but that was a big, big wake-up call for us as to exactly where we need to be. Maybe the pre-season friendlies had sort of led us into a false sense of security. We had a decent performance against Pontypool, won the game against Oxford, which we were expected to do, and then we were able to sort of shrug off the big defeat against Bath because it was a Premiership side, and say it maybe led us into a false sense of security, and we got a big wake up call on Saturday. So everybody now knows exactly where we need to be, and that's what we've been talking about this week. But yes, a huge disappointment for everybody.
So has this led you to change your approach this week in training? Are you doing
It
anything
has a little
differently?
bit. It has a little bit. I think the results, the performance, the way that we performed on Saturday, it certainly made the players aware of what they were up to. And we had a brief meeting before training on Tuesday to sort of go over that briefly and then look forward to the weekend. Um, and we felt that they just needed to step up 3 or 4 gears, both physically, mentally, and speed of thought. If they were unsure of what playing at this level was about, that they don't now. And so we spent Tuesday really working on our defence. Clearly, it needed to be looked at. Um, Lots of missed tackles. You just concede 13 tries, you're going to miss a lot of tackles. But when we look back at the sort of footage of the game, a lot of those tackles were missed simply because people were in a poor position to execute them. So they were all already at disadvantage because of their body positions. So we worked a lot on that, being in the right position, organising ourselves, and really trying to work together rather than as individuals. Because that was, I think, another factor on the day was that as the game went on, it became sort of more and more fragmented, and we can't afford for that to happen.
Okay, so the good thing about sport is there's always the next match. And
Indeed.
this Saturday we are at home to our old friends and rivals, Henley. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, again, not only was every game going to be a difficult one, this was always going to be a difficult one. You're right, it's a local derby. Those that have been around in the club for long enough will know what the games between Newbury and Henley are like, and I've been around for a reasonable length of time. They're always tough encounters. It doesn't matter how things are with regards to how teams are going in the league point of view. They seem to pull out an extra little bit when they play each other. So it's good that we've sort of reignited this local derby. They're going to come down. They're going to be really, really confident. They've had a good performance against Taunton. Lots of people were sort of touting Taunton as one of the sides that were going to win this league, and Henley have really given them a good beating. Really, I think it was 30 something to 12, and that's quite, take away our result. That is quite a good performance. So they're going to be confident about what they've done at Taunton, and then they're going to have turned on teletext and seen what's happened to us. They're going to probably want to come down here and put on a cricket score. And again, this is something we touched on Tuesday night. We, regardless of how badly we performed on Saturday, we must raise our game. We can't, we've got to keep competing. We didn't set out this season to be a Manchester, and there's no way that we're going to end up being a Manchester. But Saturday means we've got to really stand up and really put in a good performance against Henley.
Okay, so who's in the team?
Who's in the team? Well, we haven't gone for sweeping changes, simply because of what we got. I think we felt that there were, particularly early on, sort of some good signs, and it would be, 83-0 kicks the stuffing out of a side anyway. To then chuck all 15 of that and putting in another 15 is really not the answer. So we're going to start with the same front row that we started with, simply because Robbie Arthur hasn't recovered from the hamstring injury that he picked up in the warm-up on. Well, he actually picked up in training during the week. We thought it recovered, but it resurfaced in the warm-up. So Matt Oliver will start at loose head, and Tom Fiddler at tight head with Alistair Wood at hooker. Second rows will be Andy Cannock and Ben West. I thought Ben went really well. We took him off with 20 minutes to go, but that was just because we needed to give Jack some game time. Back row will be Chris Thompson at open side, Greg Price at blind side, and number 8 at Liam Perkins. 9 Jack Avery, and 10 will be Lloyd Cole. Will Clark is really pressing that position, but we feel that Lloyd deserves another go. Had a good start, certainly. Inside centre, Laurent Chaffrey makes his first start, and I'm sure he'll want to show us what he can do. 13 will be Steve Datchler. Then the wingers will be Jamie Monga and Ian Herriot. Carl Buttle, unfortunately, is not available for us this week because Carl had a reasonable game in a side that's going backwards all the time. And then at fullback is Martin Freeman, which we feel will bring the best out of Martin, certainly from an attacking point of view. He's an exciting player. We want to get him involved as much as we can, and we feel that at fullback he can come into the line at pace, he can come into the line where he wants, and he can sort of appear from nowhere rather than being put on the wing. Yes, you can sort of come into the line from anywhere at wing, but there's a little bit of restriction, and we think at outside centre he's getting tied up too much. So we're going to try him at 15, and he's happy to try that. The bench will be Tom Bax, and Tom Sanders will be replacement hooker. So Robbie would have filled that role, but he's injured. Jack Sawbridge again, Andy Gale, and then Will Clark will be on the bench, but no doubt we'll get some game time.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.